Moving to Norway sounds like a dream until you actually have to do it. I've been through it. I'm going to save you from making the same mistakes. Today, I'm going to break down the 3 things that nobody tells you about moving north. Number 1, the practical reality. Number 2, the hidden cost. Number 3, the mindset shift. Stick around, we're going to get into it. I'm Ben, polar chef, 20 years up north, from the total dark of Svalbard to the peaks of Lofoten. If you're planning your path here, scan this code, elitepolarchefben.com. Everything is there. Now, let's talk about what nobody tells you. All right, let's get into it. There are 3 things I wish someone had told me before I moved north. We're going to cover all of them. Let's start with the practical stuff first. The practical reality. Visas, jobs, language, bureaucracy. These are all things that you will need to learn. You would definitely need a visa if you're from outside of the EU or Europe. For me, I'm from the States, so of course I had to get a visa. I got a work visa. But then I applied for permanent residence. So I finally have my permanent residence, and my next step will be to try to get a citizenship. Jobs, it totally depends on the type of jobs that you plan to do. It's much easier to find jobs in tourism, restaurants, hotels. I would say the challenging places to find jobs would be like healthcare, because even if you're a doctor or nurse or from outside of Norway, you will have to take some like equivalency exams to get your credentials up to the level of Norwegian level, which is not higher than any other level, but they make it more complicated for doctors, for nurses. And I know a lot of people who are like doctors and nurses, and then they end up just getting jobs like in the hotels and the restaurants. So definitely if you plan to work in tourism or with some hard skills like plumbers or electricians, like the trades, it's much easier to get visas, I think. The language, you can get by in English. Like I've been getting by in English, but it's recommended to learn the Norwegian. And there's like a requirement on people who are immigrants that come. They have, hello, how are you? They have to learn English, so they have to learn Norwegian, so they provide courses for them. But if you come like me on a skilled worker visa, then they don't give us Norwegian courses, so we have to pay ourselves. So that's the difference there. And housing can usually be a big issue, just depending on where you live. So it's something to think about. And the bureaucracy, like it takes time. It takes a lot of time in Norway. So you have to calculate that when you come. And here's how I got here. I first started on Svalbard, and Svalbard is like way up north. We have polar bears there. There's Longyearbyen, which is the northernmost town, and it's 78 degrees north. And so I started there working on a ship one season. I got a job offer at a hotel. There's hotels there. There's a Radisson Polar Hotel. So I got a job offer there. Then I got a contract. And then I still didn't want to go because, like, for me, I'm from Ohio and it's pretty cold and I really don't like the cold. So I left Ohio because I wanted to find a warm place to live. So I was actually living in Malaysian Borneo. Like, how cool is that? I was teaching cooking at a cooking school, just working, enjoying. I love the heat. But, the challenge was that the money wasn't that great, and like I didn't have an expat package where I got paid in dollars. I was just getting paid in local money and I had to pay tax and everything, which was okay. I mean, it was enough. I ate rice, so I wasn't really stressed about it. But the challenge was that the salary was always late. So I started looking for other jobs, and I saw a job that said work in Antarctica. So then I said, wow, how cool is that? So there were expedition cruise ships. They were looking for hotel staff, chefs, hotel managers, servers to work on cruise ships that go from Ushuaia to Antarctica. And the ships were like Russian expedition vessels that the Russian institutes use. So they would subcharter it to the companies, and these companies would hire us, and we would just come and take care of the staff. So they had their crew who took care of the ship. So like I was just a passenger on the ship, which was really, really nice. So I did that. I went to Antarctica, and then after they said, hey, do you want to go to the Arctic? So they had 2 ships. One went to Svalbard, Spitsbergen, and the other went to the Canadian Arctic. So they sent me to Svalbard, and that's how I ended up there. And then UDI, you have to understand about UDI. It's the immigration organization, and it's a system, and everyone has access. You go to the website, people always ask, oh, how do I go to Norway? How do I go to Norway? My first suggestion would be stop at the udi.no website and just start to research there. Put your country in there. They make it so simple. Which country are you from? Which type of visa? So you just start to research this UDI, and then you will start to get a lot of information about what you need actually to come here, because everybody has different requirements. So it's hard to speak for everyone and say what you need to do. You just have to go to udi.no and then you research it. And then sometimes, just depending on your skills and your abilities, like if you're in tech or oil, normally big companies, they may sponsor you. It's possible they may sponsor you, they may take care of the whole process, but smaller companies won't do it. It's not like Dubai, or some of these Middle Eastern countries where they just take care of everything, they sponsor everything. Norway isn't like that. A lot of things you have to do yourself. You will have to put in the work unless you have a really, really big position. And it's also important to remember, small companies, they may assist you, but they probably won't fully sponsor you. And research your industry. Like whatever it is you do, research it, how that works in Norway, and start to make contacts, build up your network, And if you can't get any sponsor, then look at alternatives. There's other ways to do it. You can get like a working holiday visa. They have many different types of visas that you can get, just depending on which country you come from. So like I said, it's important to go to udi.no and research there. Don't wait for a company. Start to build bridges. Start to connect with people. We have this Facebook group. It's called Northern Norway Job Opportunities. It's at my website, polarchefben.com. Join it. There's like over 40,000 people there. It's for finding jobs in Norway. You can just join, connect, or other job groups on Facebook or other places. Just try to connect with people who are already here. And that's the practical reality. Now let's talk about what it actually costs. But first, Chad, I want to hear from you. Have you ever looked into moving to a new country? Just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down in the comments if you considered that before. And everyone looks up grocery prices. They ask about tax rates, but that's not the real cost. Now I want to talk about the hidden cost of moving north, moving to Norway. I jumped, but I wouldn't recommend it. If you don't have a plan, then you're going to learn the hard way like I did. It's super important to have a plan. You need to think about logistics because they will drain your capital before you start. Like, it takes so much to get here, and it's much more expensive to come in, and the tax is higher, of course. But just think about what you're going to bring. Like if you need to ship things here, you need a buffer. You definitely need some kind of savings buffer, not just for rent, but also for the unexpected. And remember, everything takes much longer here in Norway. It's when, like, for example, now it's summer holiday. Like they have this thing called fellesferie where everybody's off at the same time, basically for 3 weeks. So that means nothing's getting done. So there's like a few times a year in Norway when things just don't get done. The summer holiday, 3 weeks. Easter, there's like everything shuts down for about 10 days. Christmas, for sure, nothing's getting done. So it's like you have to count this into the equation. If you try to come in the summer and you apply and then you send your applications, they're not going to even look at it for like 4 or 5 weeks. They're not going to even start to process it until like 4 or 5 weeks in the future because everyone's on holiday. And it's like so strange. And here's like one person does one job. And like if that person's away, then that job doesn't get done. So you have to count that as a time buffer as well, not just a financial buffer, but you have to count a time buffer. And the emotional cost is real. Loneliness, isolation, like that's the hidden cost. Now let's talk about the thing that breaks most people. But before that, Chad, I want to hear from you. Have you ever learned something the hard way because you weren't prepared? Just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down in the chat. And now the darkness, the isolation, the loneliness. Nobody prepares you for that. It's very beautiful, but yeah, the mindset shift that's required for you to come to Norway and come north. I didn't want to go, actually. Like, for me, it was just, I told you, I don't like the cold. So that's why I was like, I don't want to go. Even though I had a contract, even though everything was set up, I still didn't want to go because I was in Malaysian Borneo. Like, it was beautiful. I love the heat. I love the hotness. And like, I didn't want to come to a dark, cold place that can be minus 30 degrees Celsius, 24 hours of dark. Like, who wants to do that? but the cold and dark were real, and they were really, really hard, much harder than I expected. The polar night, it nearly broke me, but I stayed and it changed me. You don't survive the darkness by fighting it. You survive by building structures. That's what's super important. You have to have structure. You have to have some kind of routines, some kind of rituals. You need to build the community and be part of a community. That's what holds you up. Like, for me, it was just like we would take especially when we lived on Svalbard, it was a bit different because there is kind of like you work a season. So it starts in maybe February and then it ends in end of September. So then you have October, November, December, January, like 4 months that you can just have free and have holiday. But the nice thing about Svalbard is that you don't need a work visa there. So if you find a job, you just go. You don't need a visa. But on the mainland Norway, most likely you will need a visa for work or a tourist visa. And also about Svalbard, you can just go there. But if you need a visa to pass through Norway, then you will have to get like a tourist visa first. So like for me, I would get like a 3-month visa. Then I would go to Svalbard. And then once you're on Svalbard, they stamp you out of Europe. So basically, Svalbard is part of Norway, but it's like not Norway at the same time. And Svalbard is much more challenging than being on the mainland because here, even in the summer, we have some light. You can see there's some light. But on Svalbard, and the dark season is 24 hours of darkness for like 3 months. And it's super challenging. And this darkness, it will make you or break you. It's your choice. Nobody should cross that threshold alone. And that's why I have this square. If you go to my website, polarchefben.com, it's a free community and everybody's welcome. And we share all of our experience there and you're welcome to share your experience. And then I would like to ask you one more question in the chat. After hearing this, do you feel more prepared for a move north? What a move north actually takes? Just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and just there's no judgment. I just want to see if it's helping you, if the information is helping you. And then before we wrap, I want to leave you with this. Moving north isn't easy, but it's possible. And the people who make it, they're the ones who prepared for the reality, not the dream. I hope this helped you. Thanks for being here. This is Live 6, The Real Cost of Moving North. Moving north, what nobody tells you. Next week, I'm going to talk about the difference between Lofoten and Svalbard, the dwarf birch and the forest. I lived in both. I'll break it down. Wednesday, 6 a.m. Bring something warm. And don't forget to scan the code in case you haven't, or just head to polarchefben.com. The door is open. I'm Ben, Polar Chef, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much and take care.